Love gave her a fame, a heart, a piccolo and a king. Highfalutin, fast shooting, piccolo fusing, highbrow. Highfalutin, fast shooting, piccolo fusing, highbrow. Played a little old down, and her played a little old down, and her head went round and round. Ooh, she thought I was okay, but she stepped off that train with a heart, a piccolo and a king.
One of the greatest threats would be radioactive fallout.
Uranium fever. Where fallout is heaviest, it can even kill those who have not taken proper shelter.
Broadcasting deep underground in a questionably constructed survivalist bunker is Dave Chafins and Kenneth Vigu, and your host, as always, Mr. Robots. This episode of the Fallout Hub is brought to you by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Open enrollment for advanced robotics courses starts now. Totally nothing sketchy going on. Nope, not at all.
And we're live.
All right, Fallout buddos and budettes. Welcome back to the Fallout Hub.
Badonkadonk.
Badonkadonk.
Fallout buddos and bidets.
Buddos and bidets. The best way to clean your buttocks. I am your host, Tom, or Robots, and I'm here, as usual, with my wonderful co-hosts, the wonderful, magical, mysterious Dave Chafins. Welcome back. How you doing, Dave?
I like being magical and mysterious. And one time I was pitching a tattoo idea, and somebody asked me, what are you gonna have on it? I said, well, I'm gonna have a bat. And they were like, well, what else? And I said, secrets and mysteries. And they were like, okay, that's cute, but you need to have a better idea than that. And I said, well, you don't know what that is. You don't know.
You don't know? Illuminati, man.
You don't know.
You don't know.
And that other voice you heard is the other co-host, Ken. Don't call me Chad. No, it's totally fine. Okay, call me Chad. Chad, how you doing?
Sure. Yes.
Sure. What's going on, fellas? It's another bi-weekly bi-week. It's another bi-week. It's another fortnight. There you go. But that word is ruined. The word is ruined. Why can't we?
It's another fortnight.
Expression anymore for a period of time because that game ruined it. So we can't actually say that. Not that anyone was saying that anymore. People are going to go back and listen to speeches from like 150 years ago, and they're going to be like, "Why are they talking about a video game?"
Hot take: Fortnite is for Zoomers what Fallout 76 is for millennials and Xers. Because what do people do in Fortnite is they just hang out with their friends and joke around and build this like stuff and go to these weird concerts and do these strange things, and it's just a space to hang out in, and that's what we do in Fallout 76. I mean, if you think about it, you start connecting up those synapses, you're like,
right, which is exactly the same thing as a 57 Chevy for boomers. So there you go. We've connected it all together. So what are we talking about today, friends?
We're talking about Dave having the kernel in the background, and he didn't share with us.
Let me tell you something. Here's the thing.
We're not talking about Fallout today. We're going to argue over original recipe or extra crispy.
Right, Dave. Which one is it?
Hey, you know what? I've got. If you need an issue, I have a tissue as well.
And some coffee.
With any of my opinions,
pot?
and some coffee.
That's a lot of
coffee pot. Yes. This is called my office, Tom. Are you familiar with a working office?
That's a lot of coffee.
Are you familiar with my space?
Did you drink
all right, let's go through all the objects. There's a Tibetan singing bowl in the background. This is for audio listeners. There is a C-3PO statue. There's a White House Lego set. There's some Fallout posters. And this is my keyboard with a Febreze bottle that has water in it, that when my dogs are acting bad, I spray them with the water. And that's it.
I don't like that.
On a very special episode of the Fallout-hub, Dave Chaffins.
It's cribs, but legend. For just the space that you can see.
I see what you did there, though. You almost avoided the question of original or crispy, so I'm bringing it back around. Which one is it?
It's original, but here's the thing. You want to know a secret? The original KFC. Yeah, the original KFC, and this is related because it's in Appalachia technically, so we can all relate this back to Fallout, whatever. The original recipe for Kentucky Fried Chicken is no longer used at the KFC. You have to go to Lexington, Kentucky, and you have to go to a restaurant that's named after the Colonel's wife, because Colonel Sanders was not allowed to open up a restaurant with his own name after he made the brand deal with.
Ken is making a weird face. This is true, Ken. This is very true. He's not making
true.
Up.
I'm just everything but I haven't had the original stuff. My entire world has been shattered.
Yes, he's shattering your world. He's breaking apart your brain right now.
Yes, you need to go to Lexington, Kentucky, and that is where Lexington, Kentucky is like 2 hours from West Virginia. Well, I mean, if you're on the border, I guess it's like an hour. Anyways, go there, get the original recipe of chicken, and I've never been, but I've always wanted to go. But anytime I go to Louisville, it's always like KFC everywhere. KFC, I'm trying to think of like cities. Like how Disney is everywhere in like Orlando, like it's Disney. KFC is like that for Louisville. Everything is KFC. You're not escaping KFC. The Colonel will find you. He looms over you on his branding on the stadiums.
Cool. You guys want to talk about Fallout?
Yeah,
sure.
I do.
So let's explore some Fallout worlds, because that's the reason why we're here today, friends. Fallout worlds, and then we're also going to pour one out for Nuky Wintz, our good old friend, Nuky Wintz.
I love talking.
I need a bottle. I don't have a bottle.
If
any bottle, pour out.
If it looks like I have a black eye, this is still left over from the lawnmower fight.
Yeah.
So okay, here let's do one more.
This is the after effect.
Oh my God! It's Igor from Young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so Ken had a really cool idea that we should take a look at the Fallout worlds in the PTS. For those of you like me, like myself, like this guy right here, who hasn't taken the time to load up the PTS and go take a look at it, because I'm waiting for the actual rollout, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to go do my thing in Fallout worlds. But for right now,
your thing.
Ken's going to be our tour guide. He's going to take us around.
All right, we're going to have to switch windows. So everybody buckle up.
Okay.
Buckling.
Get ready for the transition here. It's going to be a little.
Audio listeners, get prepared. Your car is about to take way off. It's about to hit like 90 on the country road. Here we go.
We're gonna reposition.
Sing along.
Everything is buckled.
Okay, now.
I'm looking at it.
Introducing the new menu.
Happy Builder.
Soon we're gonna have 18 different ways that you can play Fallout. Does
that say Pirate Adventure?
It does say Pirate Adventure. That's one of the special game modes.
Pirate Adventure, Happy Builder, Crusty World.
I was like, I don't see a Pirate Adventure anywhere.
I think it needs to make a window bigger. Hold on. Oh, Private Adventure, Happy Builder, Custom World. Okay, that makes more sense.
I'm trying to make it as large as it can be without.
It's not. Well, that's what she said. That's what I told her.
Got to get that booty, you know.
Hold on. Okay, I'm good now. My window's bigger.
All right, hang on. Let me.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes the moment to make it the right size.
All right, I made it slightly larger.
You know, you get sometimes as your system ages,
it's all about satisfying.
The windows don't respond as quickly.
Audio listeners, we've made it slightly larger so that we can see it. And it's not necessarily for even watchers. It's just for us because apparently we can't. We're seeing pirates where we should be seeing privates.
I want to see a pirate adventure. I would also enjoy watching a private adventure as well.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Oh, no. Okay, so sorry.
So, main menu. So we're going to have adventure mode. We're going to have private adventure mode. And then this one is going to be, it's going to be rotating through. So they're going to go through different modes. Happy Builder is one right now that's currently up on PTS. It's basically really relaxed building restrictions. So you can just go to town building in here. You could build pretty much anywhere that you want in Appalachia.
But not just to town. You could go to anywhere.
You can go to anywhere.
So you can't just go to town. You could go to anywhere.
You can go to
Tom.
This mode will switch out. I think they said it was going to be each month. So it's almost like the original concept of Nuclear Winter, where they talked about having a seasonality to some of these things. This world will rotate out. I think they said monthly. It's going to have 24 players in it, so it can vary from something that's PvP oriented, if you want to have a month of PvP, to Happy Builder, to a few other things. Then you have the magic of custom worlds. Now, the menu of this is a little funky, and it took me a little bit in playing on PTS to really get it. When you first hover over it, there are some options down at the bottom here. V will allow you to view worlds that you've created.
Okay.
Something like that. So it brings up this menu. Let me go back here. You can also change it just like private adventure mode. So if you just want to be in it yourself, you can close it out so it's just you. You can also hit T on these for more info, and it'll give you kind of a snapshot of the defaults that you've set. This was a game world that I created for QuakeCon that we unfortunately never got a chance to use because PTS was down. But it gives you...
Wait, hold on. Ragdoll Behavior. Nuclear upward force.
We're going to go into these because they're hilarious.
I like that. That sounds like the equivalent of getting hit by a giant in Skyrim. Is it?
It's basically Fusro dying your enemies. Yeah.
Sweet.
Excellent.
You can also re-import your character. So if you've progressed significantly in the main game, you've unlocked special plans or what have you, you can re-import your entire character. When you first click on this, by default, it'll bring up whatever world you have active, and you can click enter and go right into it. Or going back into view mode here, let's go into the new custom world settings, and let's call this the Fallout Hell.
The Fallout Hell.
Oh no. Okay, so wait. If we're going to Fallout Hell, then who are each of us?
As
can I be
Aldeus?
Can I be Beelzebub?
I'm trying to think of people that are in hell.
Hitler?
Can I be Miss Cleo? Is she there yet?
Maybe.
She might be.
Maybe. I'm gonna be no one. No one is in hell. Mine. Wow.
Maybe
that's
the
a
real
wonderful
hell
utopia where there's that empty hell.
The friends we made along the way.
Oh no.
I think so.
So edit name, you can call it whatever you want here. You can also, before we go into world settings, you can also edit the description. So if you wanted to write something out here to explain what the world is, what's kind of cool is once friends start playing in this world, even if you're not online, they can still play in your world. So if you wanted to start over, like say you wanted to create a survival server with some crazy settings, you start off with a bunch of friends. If you're not online, they'll still be able to go in and play in that cool world that you create. You can also select the image that you want here. Since we're talking about hell, let's select this little guy. And then going into edit world settings, you can check out all of the different options. Starting out with workshops, you can turn on free building mode. That will allow you to build whatever you want and won't take any resources.
Sweet.
Camp power is great. You can switch it to always on, so you don't have to build generators. Like if you place a lamp, it just automatically comes on. The one thing that this creates problems with, though, that I found out the hard way, things like garage doors, switches, because everything is on, they don't really work. Like the garage door would just open and you can't really close it. I had that problem with switches too when I was playing with it. They may have fixed it since then or did something with that, but that was the one issue that I found with it. Free workbench crafting. This is interesting in a way that I don't think a lot of people have talked about. So lunch boxes, the presents and then the mole miner pails. If there are things that you didn't get from either of those are automatically craftable in this mode, and you can create as many of them as you want to unlock plans that you didn't get in the main game. Like there were a few things that I missed, so I made a bunch of pails, unlocked them. I can't carry that over to adventure mode, but if I'm just using this to build kind of nonsense, you can do it for that. Camp height, so you can make this a crazy, like plus 300% max height of the camp. So if you wanted to build a ridiculously tall structure, you can crank that up. You can toggle that between 300, 100, or just 50. Camp placement, you can do most locations around allowed or all locations allowed. Camp radius, you can change this up to plus 50%, plus 100. You can also make it smaller, minus 75, minus 50, although I don't know why you want to.
You just make like a little closet build.
Un petit camp. Camp budget, you can modify
Plastic shelters only mode.
You can modify the camp budget to plus 25%, so you can build that much more. 50%. I think that's as high as it'll go. Yeah, 50%. I'd like to see that number a little bigger. Relaxed building restrictions is more of a mode kind of like you see in shelters. So difficult builds or trying to snap stuff together, you run into less issues with this mode on. Going into combat, equipment durability, you can really play around with this. Particularly if you're setting up a PvP match or something for a Discord group, or if you're content creating, you want to create some crazy settings, you start here. Equipment durability, you can make it stronger, weaker. You can also make it invincible, so none of your equipment will break. Legendary mod effects, in one setting you can switch them all off. So if you wanted to do a large scale PvP event and you were trying to balance it a little bit, by switching this off, you negate any legendary effects in the world. Proximity enemy spawn, if you want to be constantly harassed by bears and ticks and chiggers and all kinds of other wild critters.
What was that last one?
Chiggers.
Chiggers. Are you not familiar with the chigger, Tom?
I was just making sure.
Yeah, those stupid creatures. We have them here.
Those are in Fallout?
No. But if they were, they would be awful.
Yeah.
I got bit by one tonight, so I'm a little salty about it.
Man, you're having all sorts of problems.
I'm having a rough week.
Don't go outside.
Lawnmowers, stay indoors.
This is my advice to everybody: outside is overrated. Don't go outside. Get your sunlight through the windows, but don't go outside. Overrated.
Proximity. Yeah, so proximity enemy spawn is crazy. Just basically everywhere you are, things are constantly spawning around you. So it's just never ending action. That's in melee AP cost.
Never ending action.
You can change it so that it costs really high if you're going to punch something, to the point of plus 100%. So basically you throw one punch like an elderly person, you're exhausted.
Right, but you could do it like you could just throw one punch like you're exhausted, but you could have it like change it so that the punch is incredibly powerful and just everything dies in its wake. So
like one punch mode.
You can do that, mode. Yeah. Like you can change this down to 0.
Nuclear punch mode.
And then change damage dealt to plus 900%.
Yeah. Single punch mode.
Damage receives, I mean, if you just want to walk around like a superhero, you could change it so that there's no damage that can be done to you.
Yeah, God mode.
Yep. You can also change it so this is nuclear. So basically, you're overpowered, and so is everything else.
Yeah, if somebody sneezes on you, you just fall over.
Infinite ammo, you can turn that on, so you can have it on, or you can have it on with no reload effect. Ragdoll behavior, this is kind of funny. Now, you can do a variety of different nuclear effects. So you can do nuclear upward force. So when an enemy ragdolls on death, they just kind of yeet off into the sky.
Yes.
Send them back to the mothership.
Yeah.
Dismemberment, you can turn that on to frequently with Bloody Mess. And then PvP rules, you can switch it on to always, never, or just the default. Difficulty scaling, you can change this to hard, very hard, or nuclear. If you crank all these settings up, which I can show you, this is going to be painful here.
Yeah, give me the most like broken system, like the most.
All right, let's
terrible.
Let's. I'm going to turn everything. I'm going to turn off legendary effects. I'm going to make everything incredibly weak. Damage dealt, infinite ammo. All right, that looks good. You can drop additional loot on death. So if you remember back when they had the Fallout survival servers, you don't just drop junk, you also drop aid. So you can turn this on. Nuked flora and creatures, you can turn that on, so everything has that nuclear radiation effect. Weather, you can do clear, foggy, misty rain, overcast, rad storm, rain, ash storm, or nuke. Or searing, swamp. Quantum storm is a really cool effect. I want to show that to you. Jumping AP cost. So similarly to punching, you can change this so you basically, if you jump, it drains all your AP.
Cool.
Jump height, you can also make this plus 300%.
You just go flying through the air, but then you're going to take damage when you land unless you wear power armor.
That happened to me because you can do fall damage to plus 500%. And basically, if you just hit the tap, you tap the space bar once, you're dead.
You trip on like a little bump on the ground.
You're literally dead.
Yeah.
What's that guy from Morrowind? You know, that falls out of the sky, and then there's like the scroll beside him that's like, I'm testing out the scroll, and then you get it, you use it, and then you just like fly off across the map like at an incredibly fast speed. It's one of my favorite things, and one of the first things I ran into in a Bethesda game. I love that stuff. Hilarious.
Applications, you can turn them on so they're automatically all discovered. Fast travel, you can completely disable it, or you can change it to free. Visual filter, you can change these. So the photo filters, if you wanted to do something trippy, like if we wanted to play in a sugar bomb world, sure. Power armor drain, you can change this so the moment you load into an armor, it already starts draining pretty quickly.
Or doesn't at all. So, you know what's going to happen here, of course, is somebody's going to come up with like a named mode that has kind of a default set, and that's going to become very popular.
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can name these and share them with your friends, and people can copy these.
The same way that like like the Naked and Afraid type stuff is kind of taken off on some of the streams. Like Tuniversal does it pretty regularly, and some other people will play it. There's going to be a world setting that a lot of people just kind of copy from each other, because it's going to, like, some streamer or some content creator is going to make a YouTube video and it's going to get popular, and then people are going to just do that, and that's going to become like a regular go-to.
The world meta.
Yeah, there's going to be a meta for a while, and then somebody else is going to come up with a new one, and then that'll become the new meta. And like, but I have to wonder what that's going to be. You know, like what is that? Like,
I think the most common one you're gonna see, like from like community members and stuff, is like giant camps, or like giant, like, I'm gonna do this huge thing and build it, or player created quests. And like I can imagine the Fallout 5.0 or like groups like that, like creating a specific world and saying, okay, we're running a quest in this world, and it has like, they could do it through signage or do it through
But
different
that's not
stuff where they're
memeable. That's not memeable. That's not the kind of thing that you're going to see like a
memes.
Well, Tom, we're not all doing it for the memes. Like we're in here for enjoyment.
No, I totally get that. I totally get that those are going to be popular, but that's not going to be the kind of thing that gets like viral. Like, what's the viral one going to be?
It's the scorched outbreak, Tom, and we solved that back in the last chapter of Fallout. God.
No, I don't think that's it either. Is it gonna be like zombie mode?
Zombie mode, qu'est-ce que c'est?
It's gonna be like one punch zombie mode or something. It's gonna be like something that you can just jump in, you can play for 5 minutes. It's really actiony, but there's gonna be some challenge to it. Like something that's a little bit more punchy, something fun you can just jump in, you play, you see how long you can survive. Something like that you can like actiony and focused. Not we're gonna spend 3 hours building a camp. That's what I'm talking about. Like something kind of more punchy.
Right. Are you gonna have like a small game, like
all right? I'm being
a small game within the
ticks.
game.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, you've logged into your world, okay.
And I'm dead.
You're
And he's dead.
I'm dead.
I miss you logging into your world. What was it called? I can imagine like a small game mode taking off, but I feel like for this update, for what it is, this seems like a real quality of life thing, so that in like 6 months, they're going to have an idea, like there's going to be an idea that's running out there, so that when they have a new content, like they're adding in the expedition or they're doing something like that this is kind of additive to that experience. I don't know if this is like, because people are like, oh, mods, gotta have mods, gotta get my mods for Fallout 76, which is it's its own thing. But
I'm thinking outside of the core community. The core community, you're right, is they're gonna make camps, they're gonna write stories. The content creators are gonna do their things. Like the people that we talk with, the people that we interact with regularly are gonna do their things. I'm talking about like what are the quick little, what are the people who are now getting into Fallout 76 because it's on Game Pass and they're pulling into the game for the action and the gameplay of it. The people who are going to be using this for PvP, because PvP really hasn't been addressed very much in the game. But now you can create a PvP server. You can give it rules. You can create a PvP server and say like, we're doing our own thing with PvP and we're setting up our own little mini map, and we're going to have a little, a fight club area, and this is the camp build, and we're going to do it in here, and there are PvP groups in Fallout. They're not as big as some of these other groups that do things, but you could totally create a mode around that now. Have infinite ammo, have limitations on weapon types, have all sorts of other, like there's a lot more that can be done with this than what we've seen before. I think what we're going to see is not just an extension of what currently exists. We're going to see things that don't exist yet emerge. We're seeing new ideas. That's kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I don't know how fast that will take.
I got bit by a tick and I died, just like in real life.
Yeah, but I think when it happens, it's going to happen and it's just going to explode. You just got bit by a tick in real life.
I got bit by a tick and I died. That's all it took.
That's what happens in real life.
Normally half your body just is paralyzed. So, I mean, you must be the 1% of cases.
I mean, I got to drop some stuff here.
I'm thinking to myself of what would be more popular now with the general public. I think like GTA has a big role-playing community that they have managed for years and years and years. I feel like you're going to have people not just that are already creating stuff naturally, but I think there's going to be an easier way for people to get in there and to do more role-play stuff. Like there used to be a mode on old on Halo 1 for the PC when it came out. That I played in, it was a PvP mode, and it was called Cops and Robbers. And the idea was that the cops were it was capture the flag, but the robbers were the only ones that were trying to capture the flag. The cops are just trying to defend their flag.
Yeah,
and if you got caught, you
Oh my
got
God.
you got put into the jail.
No.
And so like you had to kind of follow these rules in that game to understand play. If you were just going around shooting everybody'd be like, that's enough.
Yeah,
You're just like dying on the screen.
Ken is just dying and dying. I think you're right. Like, what if there was a like Raiders versus Responders mode or something like that, and the Raiders take like a key item from the Responders, and so what you do is you build a server, and there's a Raider base and a Responder base, right? And the Responder base or the Raider base has an item in it, in like a chest, and the Responders have to go get it back from the Raiders, and then that becomes the PvP.
Right. And that kind of
get it back.
I think that's a unique way to do it. And I think people underestimate how accessible Fallout is as a shooter for people, because it's not like very twitchy. It's not very there's not a whole lot of like, you could get down into the skill of it, but you really don't need to understand any of that to be successful with it. Like there's like very little like muscle memory kind of situation. Like it's easy essentially. So doing that kind of stuff, I think, is going to elevate it as a shooter that has that kind of like if I think about the successfulness of Halo multiplayer and them making what was that, Griffball, where they had the big hammer and there was the ball and they were hitting it back and forth between the goals. That was the thing that originated, I think, with Halo 2 or 3, where they had some of the custom, I think it was Halo 3 with some of the custom modes that they had. And that was essentially like Rocket League before. It was just like soccer with giant, or I guess polo, with giant hammers and space marines. So there could be something like that comes about where they're like, hey, we've invented this like weird game that we can only do in this mode, and it involves a tick, a bat, and a pile of goo, and you'll just have to wait and find out. Like,
yeah. But you could do modes like, oh no, whoa! You just yeeted a guy into the sky. There he goes. But you could do modes where, like, for people who aren't even particularly good at shooting on the guns, you could just all melee. All melee plus VATS. And so you can, run up close to people and then hit VATS and then smack each other into the sky. It could just be like yeet each other into the sky mode. And in chat, they're talking about the lack of progression hurting the mode. And what I would like to see, you're right, like that's going to be difficult to convince people to stop doing progression in order to just come into this other mode and goof around. What I think would be cool is if you could go through like a qualifying process. And once you've determined, like, here is a mode, these are the settings, and I want to qualify this as viable for progression, and then you can lock the settings in or something like that. If you can get that like confirmed and made official.
Right.
I don't know that you'd ever be okay with that, because that takes so much work on their side, on Bethesda's side, to be like, okay, let's take the time to look at this, to try it out, to see if it breaks the setting, like breaks the progression. Is there, like
this is, and it's a hard needle to thread, because they need us to be logging in every day. And they need us to, in order to do that, they need us to be doing something, which right now is just grinding for things.
And I would be okay with it. And I would be okay with being able to go into these servers and not necessarily keep the things you're collecting. Like, I'm okay with not keeping the items I'm finding and the gear and stuff, but at least just let me keep the XP and the score progression.
Why does Todd Howard need me logging in every day to the Fallout game? What if I miss a day? What happens then?
He shows up at your door, Dave.
But from a business standpoint, it shows monthly user numbers, which helps with investor calls. That's the reason. Riveting,
Tom. Riveting.
That's
the kind of riveting answer that I'm looking for, that I'm out here fishing for.
That's the actual reason. That's the actual reason, is that they can, on an investor call, they can pull up a freaking spreadsheet or put up a chart and be like, these are the average monthly users and blah, 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 blah. These are the daily.
Hey, you know what? How about you put investment into creating a more creative response, Tom?
Okay. You want to know the real reason, Dave?
I do. Tell me the real reason why I should log in every day.
Because for every here's the real reason, Dave. For every 30 frames that you watch of this game, there's one subliminal frame in the the game that is selling you whatever they're selling you. It's whatever product. So like
whatever product it is. So
So what kind of craving did you have today? Did you have a craving, Dave?
I mean, I carried some chicken a little bit.
You had some KFC cravings. So guess who was advertising with Fallout 76 this last week?
Was it the Colonel?
Might have been the Colonel.
Oh, Tom.
Subliminal advertising.
I don't know if I can eat any more instant mashed potatoes. It's a lot.
Yeah, well, that's probably for cholesterol reasons, but maybe other reasons as well.
All right, I'm changing this here, and I'm going to show you.
Yeah, he's gonna change us up here, and I have a thought. So I've talked about before to kind of get us. Let's put the train back on the tracks real quick. We had our little pit stop, got our little drinks, our little vacation juice, and now we're ready to kick back in our seat and let the conductor take us along.
Vacation juice.
To me, I've always said that Fallout 76, they want it to be not just the game that they made at launch, like the traditional single player experience, multiplayer experience that they have. Like they want it to be a platform, because we're not getting a Fallout for a long time unless there's some finagling and somebody else does it. Like we're not getting a
different studio than the core studio. Yeah.
Right. And they just bought Bethesda just bought that porting studio to do remasters of their games. So we could see a new Fallout 3 remaster, New Vegas remaster, something like that. We could see that. But Fallout 76 is where they're making Fallout content for the long term, for the next probably 10 years of what they've got. So I think they want to make it into a platform. And I think that they tried to do that with Nuclear Winter, which we're going to get into. But I think that World is kind of them saying, okay, what's Bethesda known for? And it's really wacky creative experiences. People love to watch people spawn in cheese in Skyrim and watch it roll down a hill and break everything. Or Thomas the Tank Engine Dragons, or that kind of stuff. That's what people associate with having fun in these Bethesda games outside of the main content. And so it's okay, well, how can we deliver that experience to people without 100% breaking an online community? And I think that this is this is their stab at it. So
I'm still cautiously optimistic too that this is a stepping stone to getting mod support.
It's a step in that direction.
I'm really hoping that that's what this is about.
Yeah. This is a how do we? I mean, they're sitting in meetings and going, okay, this is the goal, but what are the steps we need to take in order to get to that goal? And this is just one of those steps.
Right.
All right. Where's the place that you've always wanted to build, but you can't?
One of the cities, or
anywhere.
I have an answer, and I will now stop umming, Tom. I now have an answer, and I will answer. I don't know.
Dave's just on my butt today. Dave's just all over my butt.
I am, Tom.
You should just rub it a little bit while you're back there, buddy. Give it a nice massage.
I already talked about bidets earlier. I already talked about that.
What's going on here?
Yeah, just you get a nice splash of water. Anyways, I have always wanted to build. I've always wanted to build in Charleston, just because I live there in IRL, and it's
are we talking Riverside Drive or downtown proper?
We're talking in between the Capitol and the downtown, because it's all there's in real life there's a large swathe of development and properties in between that area, but that's a historic neighborhood. And so I've been I kind of want to build that, but then I also want to build in the actual businesses that are downtown and make apocalyptic versions of the pizza place or the bars and stuff. Imagine imagine a Fallout 76 version of not bit by bit, every single stool in the correct place, but inspired stuff by that, of being okay, well, what would that be? Because that's what I am in the I'm in the city constantly and doing stuff in Charleston itself, and so it's like I love doing that stuff and I love getting out and about. So it's like that would be fun to get in there and build in that city, and almost to kind of make a world where it's just like, okay, this is like Fallout 76 Charleston, and like from a local perspective, like this is what it is. That's probably the first thing I'm doing.
Sounds good to me.
What about you, Tom?
Get
Where you
up
build?
there. Get up there.
I don't know that there's anywhere specific, but I'm always bummed out when I'm like near a location and it's like, nope, can't build, gotta keep walking this way. Nope, can't build, gotta keep walking. Nope, can't build, gotta keep walking. And then I'm in the middle of a forest again or something.
Do you want to build like a giant robot? I'm trying to think of
Giant robot.
Do you want to
I'm looking at the map
build
as
in
it's
the
up.
middle of
I like the forest regions because they are so much prettier than some of these other areas. Although I do like walking around the creepier locations. I do like the views of the forest areas. I also like some of the high up stuff. I should pull up a map. There's definitely places I've been that I've thought before, like this would be a really cool location, and then of course you can't build there.
I'm gonna build a big raider settlement in the middle of Foundation and be like, look, it took away the rules. Now I'm here with all my friends.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like build on top of Foundation. That would be cool.
Yeah, just be like, yeah, that's real nice place you got here, but
or on top of the
real estate
Mothman
laws.
Museum. Like
that would
make
be
it like
good.
a quadruple decker Mothman museum and just like keep extending the building upward.
I
That'd be
like
cool.
that. I like that. Make it just like a giant like kaiju Mothman.
Yeah, yeah. Or just add more water park to the water park. I mean, you only have the one water slide still, but we could just add more of those.
Just like ever increasing water slides on top of each other.
Lots of water slides, the same one over and over again. Where else would be cool? I'm looking.
Here we are.
That's great. He's building, for our listeners, he's building a hot tub on the top of the Capitol building.
You know, actually, historically,
There's one up there.
Daniel Boone lived in a hot tub on top of the Capitol Rotunda until there was an electrical shortage and it burned down in 1822.
Little known fact.
Little known fact from the history there.
Yeah, like you can really build out here.
So if you don't have a plan for something, are you still able to build it in the mode? That was my other question.
I would guess no.
I don't think so. I think you have to have the plan.
Yeah, it doesn't just unlock everything for you.
See, that's interesting because I understand Atom Shop stuff like is different, but if you haven't like unlocked the plan that's available in the game, like that's kind of strange. So like this would be off-putting for somebody who is just starting out. That's like, oh, I want to make a world. I like Fallout 4, and so like I want to like go in there and mess around. It's going to be rather hard to do that when they're just like wood walls and small generators and that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You know, that's why they have the shop. That's also why they're going to sell more stuff. You know what would be cool is one of the airports, because then you could build out like a military expansion on an airport. You could make an actual like military base using what's left of sections of the airport.
Yeah, I mean that's actually a great idea.
Tom, I've waited a long time to say this, but okay, boomer.
Wait, that's a boomer idea? I'm not a boomer.
Yeah. You are if you're building.
It's a New Vegas reference. Come on.
A New Vegas joke.
There's military stuff and Fallout stuff all over the place. Especially if you're building like
New Vegas joke.
It's a New Vegas
from the boomers,
joke.
you know.
From the boomers. Oh, I get you. I get you.
The boomers.
I get you.
You're like, I'm gonna build a military installation at the airport, and I'm like, okay, boomer.
Yeah. Okay, boomer. I got you. All right.
I've been waiting It's been
So-
47 years.
So this is the edge of the build radius. And if you can see, the camp is way the hell over there.
Yeah, that's pretty far. That's really cool.
So this is actually a pretty wide radius from what we had. My floating trash mansion in the sky.
Floating trash mansion.
Trash mansion.
I feel like I'm playing Mario.
Luigi's Mansion 4, floating trash mansion.
Oh, see, that's another mode you could do. Is you could build something that's basically a floating platform in the sky, and then you could put the the physics all the way up, and just have like punch force like increased, but with no damage. And you just have a mode where you just try to punch each other off the side of the platform, but then fall damage would be infinite, so that you fall to your death. It could be basically like Smash Bros mode.
That's a cool idea. Yeah, I mean, you can just
make like
you can just keep adding
an obstacle course that's just a giant mountain, and do like make a game out of like going over mountains in Skyrim or Fallout, where you're just like continually jumping to try to, because you don't want to walk the very obvious path.
Like, look at the radius here. This is the other side. So I mean, this is a huge building space.
I like it.
And yeah, to answer your question, Shane, they do have build limits, but as you can see, they're severely increased.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Well, that's pretty cool. Do you guys want to move on and let's talk about some let's put something to rest.
Let's
we got forward now for Nuky wins. Good old Nuky wins.
I appreciate you taking the time, Ken, to show us around with the about said Fallout Nuclear Worlds, which is a better branding for that. And I'm happy you can pay me in pennies. Again, I work for pennies. I work for little morsels. And in fact, they're even more valuable if you take them to the Natural Bridge Museum and get the little penny pincher, and make them like commemorative. Like that doubles. I'll take, half my regular penny price in those. That's good.
Wow. Those are collectible.
And that was my transition to that was my transition. I wanted to talk to you guys about Nuclear Winter and what was good, what was bad, and what
was the facts of life.
Like, what's the facts of life?
Right, good, exactly. Well,
I love it.
Here's what I think. I think Nuclear Winter was a thing. That's kind of how I felt about it.
Again, riveting podcast content, Tom. You got any more about them investor calls?
But like, it was, I mean, that's really it. Like, it was like, there's a reason they're getting rid of it. It's kind of a thing. And some people are complaining that like, well, they never really gave it a chance. They didn't really add more to it. Yeah, it's because such a small percentage of the player base actually stuck with it and really gave it a positive response. It got a lot of people playing it when it first came out, and then it kind of fell off a cliff. And at that same time, we saw a very big pushback against those types of games. The what's it called? Where the circle closes in. The what's that game type called? You guys know what I'm talking about. Battle Royale mode. Yeah, we got a big pushback against that across the industry, and everybody was like, "No more battle royales, no more battle royales." That got a big pushback, and then they're watching the stats of how people are playing the games, and what they're seeing is that people are grinding out score stuff. People were asking for more story content. They released Wastelanders, and people jumped on Wastelanders. They played through the story. They created a second character. They played through the story again. The stats that they were getting were that people were eating up that content and building things and buying content in the store to build more things. And that's what people were doing in the game. They weren't regularly, and this doesn't mean nobody was. The majority of players were not flocking to Nuclear Winter. So that's why they weren't updating it as much. They weren't putting the resources into it because it wasn't getting the response that they hoped it would get. That's my theory on the whole thing.
I'm gonna miss it. I think there was a window that it could have been a lot more successful than it was, but there were a lot of complicated things that prevented it from being that way. For one thing, Fallout 76 is a particular slice of the Fallout fan base. There's a lot of Fallout fans who still have no interest in 76. A lot more people are playing it now, but you take the entire, you take a look at Fallout 4, how many copies that sold, how many people still play Fallout 4, and versus 76. There's a lot less of us playing it. And when you take a look at PvP and who's in survival mode or nuclear winter, there's an even smaller pool of us who wants that experience that the game was originally supposed to be. When you have a finite budget, I think, like you said, they take a look at everything and it just didn't make sense to invest in it. Partly because I think for what the majority of us are looking for in Fallout is more social aspects. There are social aspects to PvP or even nuclear winter that I think a lot of people didn't have the opportunity to enjoy. Like our group played nuclear winter a lot. And I always found it fun to go in and play for that very reason. It was competitive in a fun way, but I'm going to be sad to see it go. I have fond memories of being carried by people that are much better than I am. Also hiding in a bush so I could unlock those special rewards.
I enjoyed it, and let me back up a little bit. What I'm saying isn't to justify my own not enjoyment of it. I enjoyed playing it. I especially enjoyed playing it when I played it with other people.
Yeah.
I understand like the big complaint, like Celestarius in chat says argument might be valid if we got any new nuclear winter content throughout its lifespan. Yeah, like I get that. They also kind of ditched it fairly early and didn't add a whole lot of new content to it.
Right.
But at the same time, I think they saw the writing on the wall pretty early that it also wasn't the thing that the majority of the fan base wanted. So they had to decide what direction to go in. I think around the time of that release was the time in which the call for, hey, we want NPCs in this game. This is the direction this needs to go in order to fix it. What are you doing releasing a battle royale was so loud that they needed to change directions, and they had to make that decision there at the time. And so that's just the direction they had to go in order to save the game. I also think that it does split the player base. Like, there's a difference between logging into the world and taking part in the game that everyone's playing, or logging into Nuclear Winter and doing something completely else. That splits the player base, and games deal with this all the time. Anytime you create a different game mode in a game that's even designed as a competitive shooter, you're splitting the player base. Modern Warfare deals with this. Battlefield deals with this. Those are games that are designed to do these kinds of things. Every time anytime they do this, they split the player base, and then they have to deal with that. I don't know that they had considered really the amount of work it would take to keep up this kind of mode and the potential future popularity of that. Also, I don't think from the standpoint of the design of the engine that it was really the main focus of the design for the engine. For example, there is still hit registration issues in the game. When you run up to a Scorched and you shotgun blast it in the head, the first shot takes a fraction of a second or a second to register every time. It always takes a moment. If you do that to another player, it still takes a moment. We're not getting like fractions of a second registration like we do with these competitive shooters. And the engine, I don't think ever will really be there. And that's okay, because it doesn't have to for us to enjoy playing a PvE game with our friends. But when we're playing in a more competitive environment, it needs to be a little bit more faster and a little bit more reactionary. There's also other quality of life improvements that never really got implemented in the game. One of my frustrations with Nuclear Winter was that you never get notifications for the depletion of your health other than your health bar reducing. So like strawberry jam around the edges of your vision, things like that clue you into the fact that like your health is low, you need to take cover. The kinds of things, like you go from playing Nuclear Winter into any other of that style of game, and the quality of the actually playing it is severely different.
Yeah, I play Battlefield quite a lot with a friend of mine, and that's a really tight battle royale game, and it's a lot of fun.
Right.
You're right. It is a way different gameplay experience than what we got. That being said, I think the developers who created it did an amazing job doing so, considering what they built.
Yes.
The UI of it, the way it worked. In fact, a lot of times it actually worked better than the main game. When the main game was struggling, I always found Nuclear Winter to be more responsive than like regular adventure mode.
Right. And it was a fun like side thing. Yeah. It was totally fun as a side thing. And I think that's always what it was kind of meant to be. But to really make it a serious endeavor would have taken a lot more resources than. I would rather have more regular updates to the main game than the resources it would take to pull from the main game to make Nuclear Winter a better thing. And I think that we're going to get a better main game for this being removed, if that makes sense.
Well, from my knowledge of how that was developed, that wasn't actually developed by Bethesda Austin. It was developed by their new studio in Dallas.
Yeah,
that they're the ones that came in and did the primary development on Nuclear Winter as kind of like, hey, we're onboarding you. We're going to get you set up with a project. We want a Nuclear Winter mode for this thing. We understand the creation engine. So this is going to be kind of like how you get your feet wet to working into the creation engine. And so I don't think that they launched it as like a thing that was they launched it as like, this is either going to be wildly successful. We don't think it's going to be super wildly successful, or it's going to be cool and a fun mode for people to have and to have server space for. And I think the only reason it's going away is because they want essentially more server space for Fallout Worlds and not taking up Nuclear Winter servers. Because when it launched, it was a big deal for a lot of streamers that were playing, like the people that were not necessarily the younger crowd, but even older streamers like Cook Carnage was playing it for a while and was like talking about how much he really liked Nuclear Winter and like what that was. So I think that it was great. It worked. The shooting worked better and was more responsive than the base game, which is funny. But I think that was intentional to kind of say, okay, we're going to limit what's happening, limit the amount of effects on certain things. Like there's only going to be the base, like, because when you shoot a gun in the game, like in the regular like experience mode, there's all kinds of things that's having to calculate. And Nuclear Winter is a lot less because you don't have a lot of the legendary effects and a lot of the like strange armor, strange things. Like there's a lot less math going on in the background. And so that's probably, where like the lag, I guess, would come from. So I was impressed with it when it came out, when it was just an easy battle royale to pick up. Like if you're trying to go out and pick up Call of Duty Warzone, that is a whole like white knuckle on the controller, like hang 10, buddy, and you better have a friend there to help you along because you're just going full speed at this and you're trying to survive.
Right.
And then you've got Fortnite on the other hand, where it's like, okay, this is a little bit easier, but if you want to do something, you've got to learn how to like build at the same time. And it's not build like creatively. It's like you got to build fast and you've got to figure out like what kind of rotation you want to build up your tower in so that you can build walls and stairs very quickly. And it's like the level of that thought from somebody that is like, okay, I just play video game once in a while. It's like, well, I don't want to think about having to build a fort every time I do something. Or I don't want to, sit there in front of my, sit as close as I can to my TV so I can see every little pixel on it to do Call of Duty Warzone. I feel like that Nuclear Winter was probably a more accessible battle royale for people to play over the other options. But I don't think that it was designed for like competitive, like actual competitive gaming. I feel like that you could be competitive at it, but it wasn't designed so that there was like this like crazy like things that are like easy to learn, hard to master. Like you got like Rocket League, Overwatch, that kind of stuff. I don't think it was designed like that. So what I think happened was they had a better idea with Fallout Worlds. Like Nuclear Winter was like, we want to do something multiplayer. We want to test something out. Let's put it out there. It worked nice. The one thing I don't understand is why they didn't add a similar mode to Fallout Worlds when they are going to launch it. So like saying, okay, well, we're going to have Nuclear Winter, but it's going away, but we're having a similar mode in Fallout Worlds that you can activate by flipping a few of these switches. Like, I don't understand why that can't happen.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think they could have maybe explained a little better that for people who want to recreate a Nuclear Winter experience, or even a survival mode, an old school survival mode experience, with a lot of these controls, you can recreate that. I mean, it's not going to be the same, of course, but at least it's something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're just they're putting the concept of if for people who want PvP, you know, you can create it.
Yeah. So with any of these decisions, there has to be a reason for making it, right? Like,
yes,
any company isn't going to just willy-nilly make a decision for no reason. There's a justification, and usually that justification has something to do with budget, and that budget decision usually has something to do with and by budget, that budget can mean financial budget, it can mean headcount budget, it can mean time. There's lots of ways of budgeting when you're managing a team. So like Dave said, it could be server budget, it could be financial budget, it could be the cost of servers to maintain Nuclear Winter. And if we're getting something like 8-person servers for the new world, the new mode in Nuclear Winter is a larger server budget, and that's a smaller server budget, then maybe they're saving money on that. So let's close down Nuclear Winter, let's move stuff over, right? If maintaining, operating that, and even something like there's been a lot of hacking and cheating in Nuclear Winter, and having to try to deal with that is a man count financial issue. Maybe they don't have to worry about that anymore, because now they can take the team off of having to worry about that. They can now put those people working on, Q&A or working on this whole new world system or whatever, right? So you can now pull people or pull resources out of that. So this is where my mind goes, is they wouldn't just make this decision unless there was a good reason to move resources from this one system into something else. And that's where my hope comes from. But we'll see. And
I agree. I agree.
Is making the point that they don't think that the headcount is going to Fallout 76. It might be going to other projects. I don't know. I don't know how to know if that's true or not. Like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't.
Yeah,
I don't know.
What I imagine happened was they released the Morgantown map, which they didn't release a Charleston map. And I told my friends, I said, listen, when they released a Charleston map, you're playing with me. I do a gosh darn podcast about this video game, and nobody ever plays with me. And I know all of you own it, because all of you live here and all of you played with me at the beginning. When they released the Nuclear Winter Charleston map, you're going to do it again. And you know what they didn't do? They didn't release that, because once they released the Morgantown game, they looked at this other game that people were talking about called Starfield, and they were like, hey, you know what? We probably need more resources on that if we're going to make a release date that's not like 5 years off. And so we just acquired some studios. So why don't we just get everybody working together on the same thing, on the same page, so that we can meet a release date for that? So I think that's why it's just been a placeholder until Worlds. Like, I feel like that they were like, yep, Nuclear Winter is a thing. We're not touching that thing unless something bad, unless there's a drastically bad thing that has happened that's like, you can't play it or something, until they came up with Fallout Worlds, which I think is easier for them to manage.
Yeah, it may be. It's a lot more of a hands-off thing. Once you set it up and it runs and the servers work, it just goes, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. So, and again, I don't know. Like, we're not behind the scenes. We don't really know how all this stuff works. Tom,
I am. And,
it would be nice
and I've got like Todd Howard in the jar. He's in there. Cool. You just got to look close enough.
Yeah, it would be cool if this like kept going. It'd be nice to keep playing Nuclear Winter, but I guess it's not going to be a thing. It's a bummer for people who really enjoyed it. But at the same time, if they're not going to be able to make it a primary focus, like I get it. Like there's only so much you can put in there. I also understand from a financial perspective that if they can't find a way to monetize it, then there's not really a benefit to maintaining it. Does that make sense? Yeah. And I know that sounds like if you boil everything down to money, it kind of sounds crappy. But at the same time, you can monetize building in the game. How do you monetize Nuclear Winter in the game without like season passes and stuff? And then that also sounds crappy. But if the player base is only a small fraction of the total players, then they've probably done the math on that, and they're going, it's just they can't pay for the putting out the new skins for Nuclear Winter for the player base. They've probably done some speculating on like what the numbers would actually be like if they really did double down on that and looked into the future, and they probably think that they can't really do it. So
moving on, does anyone have a cool memory of Nuclear Winter?
Yes, I do. My favorite memory was in the, I forgot which map. I forgot if it's Flatwoods or Morgantown. There is an outpost, like one of those towers, one of the overlook towers, whatever they're called, like the ranger stations, like old Firewatch stations. And I stood at the top of that, and I was the only person. I was just playing it to get the rewards. And I'm like, well, you know what? Instead of hiding in the bush, I'm actually going to do something. And I had crap gear, and I was just at the top of the station. And for some reason, the circle was just like closing around me. So I'm up there. I'm seeing all of these fights happen. I don't have a sniper rifle. I have a shotgun. I don't have anything good. And I'm just up there watching all these people go around, chase each other around, do all of this different stuff until it's like the circle is like right on top of me, and there's two people left. And they're just running around, not seeing me, not thinking to go up in the giant tower that's in the middle of it. And so then eventually they come up the tower, and then I kill one of them, and then they fall down. And I think that confused the friend, because the friend was like looking around on the ground. And so then I got to go down and kill them. And that was probably one of my greatest wins. Hilarious. I'm pretty sure that I'm going to tell my grandchildren about that one day. It was fun. It was good.
I had a really simple moment where we were out in the part of the forest where there's like the ropes course section with like the logs and things that you can jump on and run on and stuff, and then there's like the little like wood stairs and the like little planks that you can run on and then go down the wood stairs and like that little section. And the map was closing in, and me and my group, and I think it was a bunch of randos. I think wasn't even playing with friends that time, so we weren't on comms or anything. And we were all kind of hunkering down. It was us and maybe two other groups left, and this group saw us, and they were clearly more suited up than we were. So we ran down the hill from them so they couldn't see us. And the rest of my group jumped into the bushes, and I didn't have a bush to hide in. So I went right behind the stairs. Like I went underneath the wood stairs. So I'm like stuck right behind the stairs, and I'm clearly visible. Like if you went down the hill, you just turn and you just see me. And I'm like standing there like under the stairs, like, hey guys, everyone else is in bushes. And the group just comes like barreling down the hill. All the bush people go running out of their bushes and start fighting everybody. And I'm like, all the bush people in my group start fighting everybody. All the people in my group die, and I'm just like standing there under the stairs, like, nope. And I leave the stairs and I head back up the hill, and I got away and survived. I still didn't win the match, but I definitely noped out of that situation because the rest of my group got slaughtered. Somehow they didn't see me because I was not one of the bush people who just jumped out of nowhere. Anyway, that was a terrible match, but I definitely remember surviving by hiding underneath stairs. So yeah,
yep, that's what we call Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Yep,
the Harry Potter maneuver. I'm gonna miss our punching the trash can ritual.
What's the punching the trash can ritual? I'm not familiar.
Well, picture it. So when I first started playing Nuclear Winter, at the minute you load in the lobby, everyone is just kind of walking around randomly punching people. So it became kind of a psychology experiment. So every time we'd go over to one of the trash barrels on the upper level and just start punching it. And then eventually everyone else would start punching it too. It was an interesting ritual. So we'd all just stand there and punch the trash can.
Mm-hmm. And you got extra luck for it.
It was a lucky charm.
Luck +2.
I like it. I really liked the way that the perk loadouts worked as well. I feel like the perk points in general and the cards and stuff are one of the best things about this Fallout game. I really like that. I thought that was good.
Yeah, the other, I'm going to miss that clean version of that vault. It was so cool seeing a pristine vault with that level of detail.
With a bunch of weirdos running around, jumping and punching each other.
Yeah, well, except for that.
Okay. Well, listen, it may be defined differently for Ken. You don't know.
But I mean, the boxing ring, somebody curated effect where you go stand in it and, it has the little boxing noise and the cheering crowd and the casino machines. That's like a little New Vegas. Like, that was kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, it was cool. It was nice to see like a pristine, nice location.
Yeah.
For once. Yeah.
For once.
For once in a Fallout game.
I'd recommend,
only for once, but you guys know.
Go to the White Spring.
Should we talk about what's coming next?
Yeah, what's coming next?
We're getting a new shelter, which I am really excited about. It is a nuclear silo.
Is that the waterfall?
Oh, nuclear silo.
Oh, no, the waterfall's already.
Yeah, the nuclear silo has a nuke in it, but it's this big honkin' concrete bunker. I don't know when they're dropping it, but it looks amazing. The other thing that they shared after QuakeCon was the Halloween event. They gave us a little more detail on that when they did the dev dive. The Halloween event this year is going to run like the Holiday Scorched. So it's Scorched running around in Halloween costumes. You kill them, and then you get drops off them, and they're going to incentivize people to go trick-or-treating at people's camps.
I'm pretty excited for that. Yeah. I remember them mentioning that because they had teased out mailboxes for a bit.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, well, I know that they're going to do something. They're going to do something where you're going to go around, visit everybody's camp, because that was the best thing to do once they allowed. Because back in the day, they didn't have camp markers for people, and you just stumbled upon them regularly instead of going out and being able to visit them. So I wanted to visit everyone's house, but I had to walk 40 miles.
Uphill both ways.
Old Man Chafin's stories of early Fallout 76.
Old Man Chafin's.
It was wild. Area chat was always on. Couldn't turn it off. Son of a bitch.
I would yell into the wind, and the wind would yell back.
I lost my first wife to a guy eating a bag of potato chips in area chat.
And he was more rich than I was because he had potato chips and I had nothing. That's the crazy old man.
Oh,
farewell, Anadu, the affair Spanish lady.
What was that song?
Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Give me the full version, Ken.
I only know that line from Jaws when Quint is singing it.
Well, them good old days. Here's all right. So you know how they did WoW? I'm gonna get off topic again. You know how they did. Now I'm gonna warn everybody. Now that's gonna be my thing. It's like, hey, by the way, I'm doing my thing. You know how they did. You know, they did like WoW Classic. We need to go back to like Fallout 76 Classic.
Oh no!
God.
Someone in chat's reminding. Remember when we had 400 weight stash box?
Yes.
Oh man!
The existential horror.
You had to keep all of your stacks like at a certain. You had to like think about it like an Excel spreadsheet in your mind. You're like, okay, I don't need more than 300 steel.
I had
300 is my max.
Like I had to decide what to bulk and what not to bulk. Like how could I cut down on that? It's crazy.
Yeah. No, thank you.
We need to go back. We need the 76 Classic, and that's when like everything was getting stuck. Nobody could kill a Scorched Beast Queen. Nobody could. Like it was absolutely impossible, and so you legitimately have to like cheat to do that. What else can we throw in here? Oh, all of the all of the dispenser machines in the quest tourism for the Toxic Valley. All of those have to be broken. It was the first 2 weeks of that where they were like, oh, by the way, we're going to fix that. Nobody could complete that quest, so we'll fix it sometime.
And
we'll
had
see.
the Civil War quest at the fort, the reenactment that everyone did once and then never played again.
Bring that back.
Man.
Bring that back.
I mean, I kind of liked that. That was a cool little kind of like a capture the flag mini quest there.
Getting like these weird chills, and I don't know if it's like chills of nostalgia or like horror. Kind of.
Horror.
What if it's
nostalgia?
Ooh, nostalgia. That's a weird. Better start that with an H.
Nostalgia sounds like something Jack Nicholson might be thinking right now. It's a weird cut. It's a weird cut of that sandwich. That's like a strange piece of bologna I pulled off that sliced down on.
Yeah. Piece of bologna.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know how that.
So you were like, what's coming next? And I was like, okay, Fallout 76 Classic. So what else is coming next?
What else is what's
I
actually
took
coming?
that idea and I said, hey, you know what? That's great. Also, something entirely opposite.
We've got the new scoreboard that's coming that's going to be based on the Invincibles.
I like this. I like the idea of new villains. I have my hopes set on getting an actual mechanist skin that we can all buy from the shop.
They had it once and then never added it again.
Well, they had it once and it was like a reward for like the, I don't know, Gamescom or something.
Oh,
and
that's right.
But it wasn't something everyone could get, so only so many people got it. And then I did my whole mechanist thing back in the winter, and I couldn't get it. I talked with Lady Devin, I talked with some other people, and they're like, "We'll see if we can get it available." Nope, still can't get it available. I'm just like, please.
They had that. They had a Piper outfit from Fallout 4. They had I forgot what I know his last name is Maxon, but the guy from Fallout 4.
Oh, the Elder Maxon battle coat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was some cool stuff.
There was a while where in Nuclear Winter everybody was wearing that coat
because it looks cool.
Yeah,
it looks cool.
I want a mechanist. I want a mechanist. I want you know what else I want is more like I want more.
You're gonna say a mechanist.
I want a Mexico. I want more gear that looks like parts of robots that you've now like combined onto your body. And I know there's like robot armor, but what I want are like you take like an iBot and you've now turned that into pauldrons, or you've taken like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wouldn't it make sense?
Oh yeah, like you would repurpose. You have the
robot
helmet,
parts,
but like
you have the helmets, but like what about like a Securitron chest piece, or like just more robot parts that you would combine onto your body as like actual armor.
I want treads.
Tom's out here trying to be a cyborg.
Yeah, man. Wouldn't it make sense though? You would do that kind of thing. Like those are the parts that would be available. You'd be like using this stuff as armor pieces.
I'm gonna rip the top off that Sentry Bot and I'm gonna ride that thing around like Davros from the Daleks.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, Dog Fox. Robots Radio. That's right.
That probably looks like it's like Fred Flintstone's car. You're taking the treads, hoisting them up, and just screwing your little legs around.
It's like when you're a little kid and you had that little scooter thing that it was kind of built the same way. It had the 3 little tripod legs, and you're like,
yeah.
Here I go on my way to the Scorch Beast Queen.
Absolutely. I want all that stuff.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Oh,
or like a Bottle and Cappy outfit. That would be cool. We're going way off reservation here.
I don't know. Are Bottle and Cappy a thing? Like, is that a thing that's lasted? Is that like a mainstay?
Nuclear Winter is one of the most not Nuclear Winter. Good lord.
Nuka World.
Nuka World is one of the most popular
before the
DLCs.
Bombs dropped.
Yeah.
And Nuclear World was a destination before the bombs dropped, right?
Yeah.
And so this is only very short while after the bombs dropped, so people would have still remembered who Bottle and Cappy were. So yeah, why not?
I mean, I'm just trying to get my 3-dog outfit. I'm not trying to dress up like a giant soda can, Tom. Thank you very much.
I want to dress up as a giant soda can.
Dave's like, you're ruining my immersion. I want now that So getting back to the controversy that was the water slide, the controversy that broke the community.
Ruining the
Oh
immersion.
my gosh.
The custom animation that we can do with that, it would be cool to be able to get like a bumper cars ride or some of those nuclear world rides.
Yeah.
To have them as buildable items in your camp. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah. Teacups.
Yeah, if we could get that, like the Camden Park stuff, like if we could get like a Camden Park themed
Yeah.
situation,
Give me that draw
so
sauce.
that it's like inherently rickety. You know, it doesn't have to be like this big thing. Forget this. I'm thinking about this realistically, and all I want's Roller Coaster Tycoon Fallout 76 now. That's all I want. I want a giant roller coaster. I want to like pop off like I'm playing Red Dead Redemption and I'm riding shotgun. I got my little shotgun. I'm seeing the Scorch Beast and I'm like,
could you imagine riding the roller coaster down in the Cranberry Bog? Like, you got to shoot the queen.
You come back around. All right, come back around the queen again. Everyone get your guns out. Pew, 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 pew.
Just like that.
That's funny, but it's also
an arcade
great.
Shooter.
Yeah.
I love it. I love that so much. We need like people to dress up as tour guides for it and be like, everybody duck, we're going through the Whipsit world. And everybody's like,
like a Universal Studios ride. Oh no, here comes the tick. Everyone get your guns ready.
Yeah, and on Dogfox and Chess, that's an on-rails arcade shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you can do this in Worlds.
that's a Fallout world.
That would be great.
That's a Worlds.
That would be
We
great.
just need to figure out a way to do roller coasters.
Everyone get your cannons out. Here comes Night Shin.
Hey, everybody. Everyone, kill the pragmatism. Kill it.
Here comes Night Shin. Aim for his head. For some reason, he doesn't wear a helmet.
Shoot.
Why is it okay? Why is it that all of the important Brotherhood of Steel people don't wear helmets? I'm like, you idiots.
Dummy.
You got one thing you got one place that you don't want people to shoot at, but you're like, okay, I'm really important, so this space is the
be able to recognize me compared to everyone else.
Right.
Why not just wear different colored armor? We'd still recognize who you are. Or put your big old Shin word on your chest.
Or just figure out a way to lift it up. Lift up your little helmet when you want to talk. Yeah,
like an Iron Man,
just like
kind of like
port
kind of thing.
What does it do?
I know. I much prefer like a cruise ship porthole that they have to like, and then they open it. It's like a mechanical situation.
Dave's got the better sound.
Dave does have a better sound effect.
Or what if it's just like the new MCU stuff that's all just like CG, and so it all just goes. Whomp.
I want one that goes peekaboo.
Yes, that's the new Halloween cosmetics we're getting. Is Peekaboo Power Armor. Get your favorite Halloween critter and put it in your power armor, and then
the Tim Burton face from Beetlejuice, just like a really long.
like,
oh man.
Foley artist Dave. I work for pennies, and as you know, you can go to the Natural British Casino and Resort and get yourself a commemorative penny, and I'll take those as well.
So, anything else coming that we know about?
Well, we
have the exclusive.
We're hopefully going to be getting more in the next month or two on the Aliens event that's coming.
Oh yeah.
Which I'm really curious to see if that's going to work like it was originally data mined to be.
Aliens.
I guess we'll find
I'm
out.
big into the alien situation.
Tell us more.
I'm just excited. I'm just excited for Pittsburgh. Whenever Pittsburgh comes, I'm ready for that. I feel like that's going to be the next big thing. That's going to be like the.
It's no longer Pittsburgh. It's the pit. Damn.
Okay, well, the rest of the sign just fell off, and we all know.
It's the pit.
We all know. Now, here's the thing. I recently went to Pittsburgh.
You wanted to study
IRL.
for point of reference.
I was so excited for the DLC that I went to the real location to get a sneak peek of what's to come.
To get a sneak peek. Well, it was funny because I went there and I was like,
paint like a welding mask to have the HUD on. You're like,
yeah. So there's like the bridge. This is some great podcast content as my phone turns off. There's the bridge. I mean,
this is also great for streaming.
Look
at
that
the
you
quality
come on.
of that image.
That's good.
Yeah, look at the quality of that image. Yeah, you can see.
Like it.
Coming to you in 4K.
I went and I saw Fallout. Boy, was that exciting.
Wait, are you saying that Pittsburgh is already the pit in real life?
No, I'm trying to say that I went to see Fallout Boy, and I really wanted to be like, I am excited to see Fallout. Boy is that great.
Wait.
In Pittsburgh, there's a joke out there. There's a joke, and I'm now workshopping material for a very specific audience on this podcast.
You're very close to me making fun of you for going to see Fallout Boy, the band.
It was Green Day and Weezer and Fall Out Boy all together in one situation.
All right. Well, I can forgive you for those other two.
And I got the tickets in like 2018.
It's an arms race.
It's an
arms race.
Well, here's the thing. When I started podcasting and I started with Vault Boys, I really wanted to call it Fallout Boys.
Oh, no, Dave. No.
I really wanted to call it Fallout Boys.
I think you should have. You would have had a lot of really disappointed people that were like, this podcast sucks. It's totally not about the band at all.
Do like 50 minutes.
You need to have you and Dave with wigs, like all emo hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if I can. I think I can pull something out for the rest of the show here.
Yeah.
Look at that. It's like a.
Can you for the rest of this episode, which needs to wrap up very soon? Can you only sing the rest of the things that you're going to say in unintelligible lyrics?
I don't know. That's a real hard ask. And I was considering trying it there for a minute. I was considering trying it there for a minute, but I decided not to. When I started Vault Boys, I wanted to call it Fallout Boys, and I wanted to do 50 minutes of Fallout 76 content and 10 minutes of like Fallout Boys news.
You're too curly. It won't.
We do two things here. We do Fallout and Fallout Boys.
I mean, admittedly, Fallout Boys, that Fallout, yes, that does show up an awful lot when you're looking at new podcasts or music. You're like typing in Fallout.
Part of it. Where do we end? When do we? How do we get there? How do we make sure that
on this very awkward moment?
Oh,
and we're done. Hey, do you guys have anything you want to share before we head out? How about that?
I'm gonna pull up our reviews here real quick. So why don't somebody else goes first?
Oh,
and what you got going on, buddy?
Jeff Gardner, by the way, who was managing the Fallout 76 project, has left Bethesda. He hasn't said what he's going to be doing yet, so that was some big Fallout news.
True.
I don't think they've announced who's taking over 76 right now, or if it's just going to be someone promoted from within, maybe Mark Tucker or somebody, but I guess we'll see. As far as what I'm working on, we're actually getting ready for our big Halloween episode. Andreas Somville, who played Mr. Dark last year in our post-apocalyptic retelling of Ray Bradbury's Something Wicked This Way Comes, is coming back to voice the character again for a return feature. It's going to be a 2-hour long epic in which Mr. Dark has learned that a carnival isn't the best way to get people in Appalachia.
Mysterious.
No, it would be fried food, and a lot of it.
Additionally, next month, and by the time we meet next, we'll have more details for you. Mothfest 76 is going to be kicking off, and the Fallout Community Stream team have been working on creating a in-game tie-in event, a large-scale community-wide celebration to match the real-life Mothman Festival, which unfortunately was canceled again this year. But we're doing it anyway. We'll do it live. Anyway. We'll do it live.
And people may be like, oh, that's a small festival. Why would that be canceled? Let me tell you something. It is massive. There's so many people there. It's impossible to get to. That town is not equipped. That town is literally the size that it is in Fallout 76. It's not equipped for thousands of people. If everyone went, everyone's getting the COVID. So I'm glad it's canceled.
Oh, no.
But not Mothfest. Mothfest is still happening.
Yeah, Mothfest 76 we're excited to tell you about. That's what I'm working on.
Nice. David, did you get the reviews up?
I did. We don't have any reviews, but I'm gonna read a review.
Okay.
Just because I pulled it up, and why not? We haven't read out. I said that we were gonna read out reviews, so I'm gonna pull out some ones out of the bag here. This is a great moment to remind people that the best way that you can help this podcast the best thing that you can do is just writing us a 5-star review on the iTunes. Which is weird. Why would you go to iTunes and do that? You may be asking, but that's just how it is. It's how the cookie crumbles. It's very easy to do. We have a lot of great 5-star reviews. Let's see here. We've got Bree Gawatney gave us 5 stars and says, "Love how these guys dig into the depths of everything Fallout. It's fun, lighthearted Fallout podcast with many episodes that feature the so talented Fallout community." So that's one of our mini reviews.
Thanks.
Just do it. Just do it.
Great.
Thanks, Bree Gawatney.
Thanks, Bree. You're the best.
Is that how you say it? Is that how you say it?
The best?
Did I say it wrong?
So I say the best.
No, Bree. Did I do the name wrong?
I think that's correct.
Oh.
What do I have going on other than these reviews, which you should definitely do? Right now, nothing. The 6 Ways to Sunday podcast is on hiatus because of work situations. It's just how the cookie crumbles. So that's not happening for a little bit. I've got some other stuff in the works, so I'll talk about that when there's something to talk about. Right now, there's nothing to talk about. Let me tell you this thing that is not me. You should add me on the Xbox. I don't have very many Xbox friends, and I'm playing Fallout 76 right now. I'm level, I guess.
Right now?
I mean, I guess I could if you want me to. I'm level like 42. I'll probably hit 50 sometime this week. And I don't have a lot of plans. I don't have a lot of stuff. I'm like a trash panda. I'm like just like collecting people's trash and using whatever I can. So like I'm using all the guns. I have a build in mind, but it's a like automatic pistol build, so it's kind of weird. So you can add me. My gamer tag is DAVECHAFIN 5. So that's Dave Chafin 5. Or if you look at it with the thing, it's Dave Chafin's. That's how it looks. So add me on there. If I'm gonna build a Charleston situation like I talked about, it's probably gonna be on there because that's where I'm playing right now. So
nice. Cool. Wow, I was about to talk and then all of a sudden I couldn't talk. But I'm alive.
Now you can.
That's good. I can talk now. Hey guys, I'm all my stuff's at robotsradio.net. That's where a bunch of our shows exist or can be found at. That's probably a good way to say it. And I do the Fallout Lorecast. In fact, tonight we're doing the Fallout Lorecast and we have our patron show. So we've got a bunch of our patrons joining us and we're going to be talking about Fallout New Vegas. We've been talking about Fallout New Vegas over the last few months. And tonight we're going to be talking about if we were to cast a Fallout New Vegas movie, how awesome would that be, first of all? And second of all, who would we cast as some of the characters in the Fallout New Vegas movie? What actors would?
Chandler Bing, Wayne Newton,
but
Zachary Levy.
That'll be tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/robotsradio. And if you don't catch it live, you can always catch it on the Robots Radio's Fallout Lorecast podcast. Those are words, and this is how they work. Plus, there's lots of other shows and all sorts of other things that I do. And you can always follow me on Twitter at robots_radio. So that's what I got going on. So I think that's it, boys. The train is rolling down the tracks. A chugga chugga.
And this is the last time we'll ever talk about nuclear winter. We'll put it in the grave now. Everyone, it's in the grave. No one else is allowed to talk about it's in the grave. See y'all next week.
What happens when things are in the grave? You stop talking about them. Sorry, Grandma.
Yep. That's the culture that we live in.
What an awkward note to go off on.
Bye,
everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Quick, somebody do an impression. And also stick around because we're going to raid into Wild Ravens. Drop in
Yeehaw! Get out there, Ravens. Let's go down the other side of the mountain. Gonna get on one of them ravens and fly away.
Wow.
I can do more. I can do more.
I think we're
I
off.
can
We're
do.
done.